recap of my first 2 weeks of running Hotshot. So I'm currently deadheading back to Utah County. I got a direct customer down there that I got to go pick a load up for. I was hoping to get it yesterday when I was in the area, but they weren't ready, and so I grabbed another customer. A friend of mine needed some brick hauled up to his house from that area, so I grabbed that and another partial that got me home. But so I'm gonna work through a little bit of what I did, where I've been, and how it's gone. So just a little background. I have been running trucks for about 15 years. Started out doing FedEx, home deliveries, and ground delivery for a contractor. Ended up managing a bunch of those routes. Did that for a while, and then transitioned into a CDL and went to the oil fields. So I hauled oil field tankers, and then eventually, went into some management and dispatching out there. And then in 2017, I helped co-found a company, an oil field service trucking company in 2017. And again, we helped mostly tankers, and then we transitioned into some road building, side dumps, belly dumps, and Hotshot too. We did some Hotshot trucking, oil field Hotshot. I ended up leaving the oil fields in 2021. Found a kind of a dream job that took me into being a professional off-roader as an off-road guide and instructor. I was part of the re-release of the brand new Ford Bronco, and I got to be the lead instructor at a Bronco off-rodeo driving program outside of Las Vegas, Nevada. So that was really cool. Did that for a while, and then decided that it was a little too much corporate for the things I would like to do, and it kind of went broke. So decided to move back to my wife's hometown and find a path to being self-employed again. And it took about a year, but I finally put my CDL Hotshot on the road. And let's talk a little bit about these first couple weeks of being a brand new MC number and running Hotshot. So getting the company set up, I did all of that on my own, and it wasn't too difficult. I watched a lot of YouTube videos, from Hotshotters and from other trucking accounts that put out quality information. So I went through, did everything completely on my own, filing for my MC, filing for all of the other things that you need to file for. There's quite a few steps you need to do. So kind of figured all that on my own. It's a little bit frustrating at some times because there were spots where it's like, man, I don't know what I need to do next to get this set up. So eventually worked my way through that. I have a friend who does Hotshot. He recommended a good insurance guy. I went through him for insurance, and my insurance rate came back way better than I thought it would. So I'm gonna attribute that to my years of trucking experience, as well as a good driving record and pretty decent credit at this point in my life. So insurance came back. I'm less than $10,000 for the entire year on insurance at the moment, so hopefully I don't jinx that. But that was a huge positive for this company. And then the other thing that really is helping out is I already owned a 40-foot flat deck Hotshot trailer. So rated at 24,000 pounds. I was hoping it was a 26, but it's only a 24K trailer. But it's a trailer I bought years ago to haul my off-road vehicles with. And so I did, I had a couple $1,000s of, making sure it passed the DOT inspection, and making it worthy to go to work. Before I only used it, maybe 10 times a year just to haul my Jeeps around. So trailer has all new brakes, all new tires, redid some wiring, and to make sure all the brakes work. So that saved me a bunch of money. I didn't have to go get a trailer or buy another trailer. I'm not saying, hopefully though, in a year from now I will have a new trailer, and that has a few more qualities, or a few more what do you call those things? A few more amenities on a new trailer than this one that was a former oil field Hotshot trailer that company retired out of their fleet, and now I'm putting the old beast back on the road. One of the challenges that I've encountered, and this is one of the mistakes I made in trying to put this company together, was that I had a previous company with an EIN for some stuff I was doing last year, and I thought it'd just be easier to, I'll just change my company name and use that existing EIN and all that information and just do a name change. So registering with the state, that wasn't a problem. Name change, $30 filing fee, not a problem. But the one thing I did not realize is when I did that, and this was really early on still, I needed to file with the IRS to get a new or an updated EIN letter. So I didn't realize I needed to do that until about a week before, like in the middle of my 21-day probation waiting period with the FMCSA. So come to find out, or when I read on that, like, hey, you need to send in written notice, and send in written notice, and it take 30 days to get back to you with the name change and the new EIN letter. So my insurance went active. I sent that letter off to the IRS, and I just went on the assumption of, okay, I'm going to wait for 30 days. I'm still trying to figure out a factoring company. I was recommended to. They wanted a copy of my EIN letter, so that created a conflict because my trucking company, all the information on that is registered with the state with the new name. The EIN letter didn't match, so I couldn't get on with that factoring company, and so it created some problems. So I had a 30-day delay. In my mind, the 30-day delay is like crappy, but I can wait 30 days. Found a job with a neighbor guy for a little bit, and that got me moving. The previous company I was working with, their pay was incredibly delayed, and so it didn't make sense for me to keep working for them. Anyway, so I'm getting close to that 30 days. I start calling the IRS to see, if there's an update. Dealing with them was a nightmare, and then come to find out, oh no, we haven't even seen your letter yet, haven't processed anything. So that kind of put us into a scramble, and started talking to the accountant. Should have talked to the accountant from the beginning, and I didn't, and so that was probably another major mistake I made. And so anyway, found a way and was able to get something happening, and so we took a chance on it, and everything came through. We got factoring set up. We set up with OTR Solutions. They've been working great so far. Been no complaints from them, and we're just about ready to finish up our second week of trucking. Everything got ready to go. I needed to find a load, and that part is where what people say is kind of true. I got on a truck stop and DAT load boards, and I just started calling. So that was on Monday, March 31st, I guess, was my first day trying to find a load. Spent 8 or 9 hours making phone calls that day and had 0 loads. Now, I was trying to find something that could get me from my town in Idaho out and of course nothing was really there. And so there were a bunch of loads posting up out of Salt Lake City, which is about a 3-hour drive for me. So I decided that the next morning I was going to drive down to Salt Lake City and just be in Salt Lake to be close to loads. Because on that Monday, there were a couple loads that I would have been able to get had I not had a 3 or 4 hour drive to get there. There was a couple brokers that were willing to work with me, but my commute didn't work out for their schedule. So decided just to deadhead to Salt Lake on Tuesday. And while I did that, I was able to find some help from my family. It was helping me search for loads, and ended up finding one load that would cover my bare minimum operating cost going from Salt Lake City up to like Tacoma, Washington. So we booked that load for like $1,400. Came out to like $1.50-ish a mile. And I was like, all right, we'll get the pump primed. We'll start with that. So got that load booked, headed down to get that. We came across another load going right next to the first one. They're probably 30 minutes apart from each other. And that was paying like another like $800. So that put me over the $2 a mile range. And we loaded that one as well. So Tuesday, April 1st was a good April 1st day for me. Got my 2 loads booked. I drove down to Utah that day, and then I had to drive back, and I stopped out at the Oregon border. And then Wednesday was up in Tacoma, got those 2 loads delivered, no drama, and that was good. Then I loaded up a container, found an empty container going back into Boise, Idaho, or near Boise. And that guy was basically COD on that one. And so I booked that, dropped that, picked it up and dropped it the same day. The receiver was able to take it that night for me, which was awesome. And then I 10-mile drive over to the next load I found a load going from the same area near Boise down into Arizona. Partial load, paid $1,000. Basically some roofing tin. It weighed 700 pounds and took up 20 feet of deck space and was 3 inches tall. So that was a decent load for $1,000. But then the hunt to find something else going down that way began. So started calling around, reaching out to some other people I knew that shipped stuff, that I could haul for directly, and I ended up finding another load that was going down by there in Arizona. So booked that load for another $1,000. Oh, and in between that too, I picked up the roofing, and then I found a skid steer that went from Boise to Salt Lake. So I threw that on. So that took me $1,700 from Boise area to Salt Lake City. Dropped the skid steer. And then later that night, loaded up the next load for another $1,000. So that kind of trip, I guess, $2,700 from the time I loaded in Boise to the time I got done delivering in Arizona. So that other load needed to be delivered on Monday in Arizona. So we kind of had Saturday and Sunday to take my time to get down there, and still had hours. So spent some time visiting my family in Utah, then went down to Vegas, visited a bunch of friends down in Vegas on Saturday, did a little bit of mountain biking, and then Sunday drove down and dropped the roofing Sunday afternoon. The guy was able to receive that on Sunday, which was awesome. And then drove to the spot because they had a 9 a.m. delivery appointment on Monday. So I drove to that location Sunday night, parked it there at their property, and began my reset. They were able to unload it where I parked it. So recap on that, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different shipments, I guess, 6 different loads. and did that from the time from between Tuesday and Monday morning. Grossed out $6,000. So all that together brought me at $6,000 for my first real week of running Hotshot on my own. No dispatchers, no, nothing on that as far as that went. So then did my reset. Really nice warm weather, got a little bit of sunburn, did some mountain biking, got a haircut, just regular, took a shower, paid $20 for the shower. There's a really, really nice gym that was nearby, and kind of hung out in this area, went to a movie, just enjoyed a day off, and looked a little bit for some loads. Couldn't really find anything that Monday to book for Tuesday to haul out. Tuesday morning, woke up kind of early, slept in the truck, started making phone calls just before 6 a.m. on Tuesday, and there's a lot of product, a lot of stuff coming out of that Phoenix area, but man, it was competitive, and there was a lot of brokers that needed 90 days or 6 months before I could work with them. So I ran into a bunch of those issues. Finally, about 9:30, I found a guy who was willing to work with me on a heavy load. For me, it was almost 18,000 pounds, which put me pretty close to my maximum legal payload capacity. But it was going from that area back up to Salt Lake City, or actually up to Utah County, right by my parents' house. So was able to book that, got that loaded. That was paying $1,700. So that I was happy with that. It was like $250 a mile or something, and I trucked that back up, loaded that day, and got to within 10 miles of the delivery point that same day. So I crashed out at my parents' house again, slept in a real bed in the house I grew up in, which is cool, and then delivered that yesterday morning. So went and got that delivered, and then during that yesterday I was trying to get or that day I was trucking up with those that stuff to Utah. Just trying to find again, a load out of Utah, and I called my direct contact I had there in Utah, and I actually called them for just to make sure I did my invoicing right, because I'm invoicing them directly, talking to the logistics manager there, and they asked me to give them a quote for a load going to Washington. That could have gone out, or they were hoping it would have gone out on Wednesday, and that would have been perfect for me because I was already there. So I sent them a quote. They liked it, but the load wasn't ready until Thursday. So in my back pocket, I had a buddy back up in my hometown who needed some brick hauled up. So he just kind of needed that hauled up at a certain point. It's gonna pay me $3 a mile to do that. So the load from my other direct customer didn't work out. They said, hey, we can ship that out Thursday. And so crap, I had to piece something together. So I was like, I pulled out that brick load for my buddy, and then I found another partial, just a pallet weighing like 200 pounds, going up to that same town as well. So ended up booking that pallet for $400, got $600 from those bricks. So I booked a $1,000 load for Wednesday to go back home. So I was able to go home. First time spending the night at home in almost 10 days. And then now I'm deadheading back down to Utah County to go get this load going to Washington. So $1,900 load. It might be a partial. I should have gotten better details, but if it's comparable to one of the last loads I got from them, I should have maybe 10 or 12 feet of deck space open, and hopefully I can add another partial to that going back up through Idaho or eastern Oregon. So I'll drop that off, and then Jersey would be nice, because I gotta be home Saturday to load up for our vacation for the Easter Jeep Safari. So I head down to Moab on Sunday. I'm doing some guiding Monday and Tuesday, and then the rest of the week we're gonna go hang out with friends and do some off-roading. Thanks for watching. There are ups and downs, but I'm gonna say that it's not impossible to be a brand new MC to get out there. I think I'll gross out, if I don't find anything else extra this week, I should gross out right at $11,000 in 2 weeks, 12, 13 days of trucking, and I'm not too mad about that. So first week averaged out at $230 a mile for all the miles I drove, and then this week we should, even with this big deadhead, I got like 230 mile deadhead, should average me out about that same rate, maybe a little bit more. So I'm okay with that, being new, and I got some other potential direct customers coming out of my hometown, so I'm looking forward to that. But thanks for watching, thanks for liking, and it would be awesome if you followed along. So I will get some videos posted up of what we're doing. Thank you.